Jeff Doyle from Howell, Michigan, Pole Barn Dreams. "You are not getting a pole barn!" exclaimed my wife Colleen when we moved into our house on Poplar Hill Road. But honey, we've got a 3-acre lot and the neighborhood association allows outbuildings. "But nothing! You don't need a pole barn, and besides, you can't afford it. You just bought a new house." She was right, of course. For those of you who don't know, a pole barn is a farm utility building built with treated lumber and covered with metal siding. For the most part, it is a man's domain, and I wanted one. I wanted to be like Norm on the new Yankee Workshop. That PBS show, that guy can build anything out of wood. I wanted my own little workshop, my own space. I had pole barn dreams. It got so bad that I went down to Sheehan's Lumber where I met Owen, the pole barn specialist. That man changed my life. He showed me all of the options, the sizes, the colors that they come in. He gave me a 52-page color catalog with a fold-out centerfold of the Winchester model. I took the catalog home, I stuffed it under my mattress, and I would get it out when Colleen wasn't around and peruse it. I had pretty modest taste, really. I settled on the Somerset model, 24 by 32 feet. It was going to be the perfect size for my workshop. Now all I had to do was save the money to get one. When we got moved into the neighborhood, I found out that I was not the only guy there with pole barn dreams. A lot of the men in the neighborhood wanted to get a pole barn. And it wasn't but a couple of years after we moved in that our neighbors right behind us, Wayne and Judy Johnson, they built a pole barn. I sat on my deck while they dug the holes, cleared the lot, poured the concrete, put up the metal siding. Wayne, a fellow woodworker, had a grand opening of his pole barn. I went. He had a Delta unisaw right in the middle of his pole barn with a Biesmeyer fence. It was the kind of saw cabinet makers use. And then he had a 6-inch jet wood joiner. Oh, and then over in the corner was a brand new 3.5 horsepower Grizzly wood shaper. Oh, how I wanted one of those. I had pole barn envy. Well, unfortunately for Wayne, about 6 months after he built his pole barn, he got cancer. I went to see him in the hospital, and we talked about the neighborhood, and the last thing he told me was, whatever you do, Jeff, if you build a pole barn, make sure you build a bigger one. That's one of my few regrets in life, he said. I should have built a bigger pole barn. After he died, I went to the estate sale. I came home with an almost new Grizzly 3.5 horsepower wood shaper. I was dragging it up the driveway on a dolly when Colleen came out and says, "What are you going to do with that?" "Shape some wood with it," I said. And then she saw that look in my eye. "You are not building a pole barn. You don't need a pole barn. They just collect junk. Haven't you seen that show, American Pickers? You're not going to go buy something for $20, save it for 20 years, and then sell it for $25. Not going to happen. Besides, you can't afford a pole barn. The kids need braces." She was right, of course. I thought about what Wayne said. I went back to see Owen, and well, we upgraded my pole barn dreams to the Beechwood model, 30 by 40. It was going to be the perfect size. I was going to put a bathroom in it so I wouldn't have to pee outside. I thought Colleen would like that. And I thought it'd be nice if it was insulated and it had some heat in it. A couple years later, as I was saving my money for the Beechwood model, Enrique moved into the neighborhood. And the first thing he did was he built a Beechwood model. Enrique was a fitness guru. People came from all over the world to train with him. He put a brand new athletic floor, one of those rubber floors, in his pole barn, and then he had a big weight machine, a Bowflex free weights, and a Soul treadmill that had the big screen on it that you could run with people from all over the world on that treadmill. I was jealous of Enrique and his pole barn. Unfortunately for Enrique, 7 months after he finished his pole barn, he died right there on that Soul treadmill while he was running of a heart attack. That's tragic. I went to the estate sale. I came home with an almost new treadmill. I mean, nobody wanted it since he died on it, but that didn't really bother me. I was pulling it up the driveway when Colleen says, "What are you going to do with that?" Run on it. And then she saw that look in my eye. "You are not getting a pole barn. Don't you know pole barns are killing people? First Wayne, then Enrique. Besides, you can't afford a pole barn. Then we got to save money for the kids to go to college." She was right, of course. You might be surprised to learn that Colleen, my wife, doesn't really sound like that. It's just what I hear sometimes. Well, over the years, my pole barn dreams changed. I finally, after the kids left the house, decided that I was deserving of the Winchester model, 40 by 60. Yeah, I was going to get the one with the skylights, the bathroom, the mezzanine levels. About a year after I was saving my money for the Winchester model, my friend Mike, he was a car guy, he decided he would build a Winchester model. It was beautiful going up. He put a car lift in it. He epoxied the floors. He had places on the walls for all of his tools. And there on the side, he had a Kennedy toolbox. It had to be 8 feet wide. He could roll it around up to all his cars so he could work on it. I was coveting Mike's pole barn. Unfortunately for Mike, about 9 months after he finished his pole barn, there was a tragic accident. His classic Corvette rolled off that lift and crushed him to death. I know it's sad. I went to the estate sale. I had my eye on that Kennedy toolbox. But as I stood there and the auctioneer was rattling things off, I started looking around and I thought about Mike and how he was a safety guy at work. And I thought there's no way that he had an accident and that car rolled off that lift. I looked it over completely. There was nothing wrong with it. And then it occurred to me. Colleen was right. Pole barns are killing people. I ran home. I got on my computer. I looked up pole barn deaths, and sure enough, there was a spike of pole barn deaths. There's even a support group for pole barn widows. 2 of the founding members were in my neighborhood. That was it. My pole barn dream was dead. I didn't tell Colleen. She asked me what was wrong, and I told her I was just missing my buds. And About 6 months later, I was coming home from a storytelling trip out on the West Coast, and I caught an early flight. I was going to be home 3 hours before I told her. I thought I would surprise her. And when I rolled up the driveway in the car, I could see in the backyard, around behind the garage, there was a big stack of lumber, Sheehan's lumber pole barn kit. And I thought, my goodness, she's trying to kill me. I ran into the house and she wasn't home, and I looked on the calendar to see where she might be. She was at a pole barn widows support group at Judy Johnson's house. I thought, it's a conspiracy. They're planning my death. When she got home, I said, honey, I think you're right. I don't really need a pole barn. It'll be okay. I don't really want one anymore. I just collect junk in it. She said, well, I'm glad you finally come around to my way of thinking. Then you don't mind if we send that pole barn kit back? Oh, that, she said. That's not for you. Jill got that for Andy as a surprise for his birthday. She asked me if they could store it in our backyard until they came to put it up. I said, really? I didn't even know they were having problems. She said, honey, I would never get you a pole barn. I love you and I want you around for a long time. And that's why I love that woman. She is always looking out for me. If you want my advice, if you're thinking about getting a pole barn, or if your wife graciously gifts you a pole barn, don't do it. Those things are killers.